Good afternoon and welcome to council briefing session. Ms. Pfister, will you call the roll?
Council President Wilkerson.
Present.
Councilmember Sapone.
Here.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Councilmember Bingle.
Here.
Councilmember Dillon.
Here.
Councilmember Klitsky. Present. Councilmember Navarrete.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Good afternoon. We'll start with tonight's agenda, and then we have two items that were deferred from the June 3rd meeting. Number 20 is a consent item for the paving. So Dan Bowler.
Unless there's been an update to information, I think we're good on it.
Are we good?
But I was going to make a motion to defer it. I guess if you could answer what would happen if we deferred it again, because traffic calming didn't really have a time to meet. So
we were kind of guessing that this might be the result. So the bids are due, bids are valid for 45 days after bid opening on May 8th or May 6th. And so, and as you know, next week's council holiday, and so it would be the week after that. This bidder is interested in doing the work, so we're pretty sure he would say okay.
all right, not saying what would happen on the 24th, but I would make a motion to defer it till June 24th.
Second.
It's been moved and second to defer till June 24th. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? That is deferred.
All right. Then number 21. This was the month-to-month contract extension amendment for Revive. Ariel Anderson is here to answer any council questions on that one.
I don't have any questions. Any questions?
Well, we were waiting, thank you, Ariel.
Yeah.
We were just waiting for some additional data of outcomes, and we did
Okay.
receive the Revive, the data narrative.
Okay.
Going forward, I think I did a lot of good work. I think I was just challenged with, we were hoping for better outcomes that,
Did you receive the email on Friday that I had sent?
okay, I'm looking at the one I got from Revive itself.
So that was-
The Excel spreadsheet one?
So there was the Excel spreadsheet that was created by us, by CMIS, and that was sent out on Friday. And then in that email that I had sent to council, I was going to give the Salvation Army and Revive an opportunity over the weekend to provide any narrative if they wanted to. That wasn't a requirement, but it's just an option. So that's what I ended up sending to council this morning. It was still 11:50. And so that is what was in your inbox just a little bit before noon.
Any other questions for Ariel on this? Okay,
Okay.
good. Thank you, Ariel.
All right, so now moving into the legislative agenda with the special board budget ordinance C-36520. And I believe, Council President, you're going to take that one?
Yes, Councilmember Sapone.
Yeah, I will move to adopt the Zapone-Dillon-Wilkerson amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and second to adopt the Zapone Dillon Wilkerson amendment. Any commentary, Councilmember Sapone?
And then, well, first I'll just speak to it. I think that this amendment really builds on a lot of the work that the Bingle-Navarrete amendment does. It includes everything there, and really want to thank them for all the work and collaborating across all of council on all of those items. It just adds a couple additional ones that I think would be beneficial and fine-tune some of the numbers around like child care and housing studies that talking to stakeholders were more accurate to those numbers. So that's why I'm proposing that. I would also like to make a motion to suspend the rules to amend the amendment.
There is a motion to suspend the rules for the purpose of amendment on this. Is there a second?
Second.
And I'll just speak to that. I'd like to strike the last paragraph of the amendment when it says when additional funding is available for reallocation. I think that there's been some development of new ideas, especially around a wildfire emergency preparedness study that I think would be valuable, and It'd probably just be easiest to strike that from the ordinance and then come back with a new SBO if future funding becomes available.
I agree to the strike. After consideration, I hate to commit other future councils to funding that maybe they had no input on, and that's what this would do, where all monies that were clawed back would go directly to parks, really without any additional council engagement. So I support the strike because that does allow us the flexibility, i.e. with this fire study or something else that came that we need to do like immediately.
Council President, could you have a motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor of suspending the rules?
Well, I think there's still comment on this motion to suspend the rules.
Councilmember Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I never like suspending the rules, so that's my commentary on that. I'll speak to the amendment when we get to it.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I guess I would like to chat with Sarah Nuss and understand what plans we have, what are the studies we've done. I know there's been some done in the past. This was a huge topic of conversation in 2017, went to a ballot, failed. So I would like to have that data before I even consider this.
Well, let's get back to the suspension of the rules.
Yeah.
All those in favor of suspending the rules for the purpose of striking the last paragraph from this amendment, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any noes?
Aye.
No.
No.
Any abstentions? Great. Now, we will go to,
So then a motion to amend it. So the motion, I move to strike the last paragraph when additional funding is available to the end of that paragraph, long-term benefit to the city.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm trying to understand what this amendment's doing.
All-
What
So-
are we doing here on this?
So the motion to strike would just not commit the city to future ARPA funding. So it gives time to talk about what a study is and more things. That there's no commitment by striking this. It would just allow us to come back when additional funding comes back to do another SBO.
Any other commentary? Comments?
And this is just on the striking here. This is all we're voting on right here.
Correct.
That's all we're voting on, absolutely. All those in favor of the strike, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes?
No.
Any abstentions? Great.
So now we're to the original motion on the amendment. Any other discussion on the amendment?
Councilmember Bingo.
Yeah, I've got some questions here. So can you just go through from the Navarrete, Klitsky, and Bingle amendment? What are the main differences here?
The main difference is there's a slight increase for the appropriation for homelessness. This was in line with the number that we received from the mayor's office on the cost for that. This has a
Sorry, I'm having a hard
reallocation.
time finding it.
So it brings the homelessness to 1.876 million, 1.876 million for homelessness. It has a reallocation for childcare of 225,000 with an expected 275,000 coming back from an amended contract with Community Minded Enterprises, which would bring childcare up to 500,000. Municipal justice services is the same. Youth sports is the same. Clean and safe neighborhoods is a slight increase of about 3,500. That was kind of where all the remaining funds were put. Was there
But that's a decrease from ours. We were at 7.
from the current proposal, from the current amendment, not from last week's amendment. Correct. This has street lighting in it. I believe the current Navarrete Bingo amendment does not have residential street lighting in it. This is a decrease for the alleyway activation to 166,000. It's a decrease for the housing study to 50,000. It has 100,000 for the OPO office, 100,000 for the purchase of a vehicle. It has 250,000 for a marketing campaign for the Working Families Tax Credit. $200,000 for a partnership with Spokane Schools. So those are the significant additions there. That's two additions for a school-based health clinic and the Working Families Tax Credit. It has $300,000 for a fire department instead of $500,000, which is in the current amendment. And then it continues to have the Cannon Hill Pond. Councilmember Cathcart has a question or comment
Yeah,
about it.
I guess I'm just wondering, how much is the state putting into marketing their tax credit? Why are we subsidizing state efforts?
So the state is doing this. We just have a very low pickup rate right now in the county. It's about 20% of eligible families are doing this. And so
So you're saying the state is not being effective, is what you're saying?
I'm saying it's not working for our community here right now.
And what about our campaign would make this effective?
It would be a local coordinated campaign with our community-based organizations, community centers, and libraries that working families don't know what it's about. I think the state, it's being run through the Department of Revenue, which is not typically used to doing outreach. And so this would effectively work with our local networks in our community to make it coordinated. There's been talks about working with accountants on hosting an event for free tax preparation and signing people up. And the Working Families Tax Credit could be eligible up to $1,200. So if we are able to get 200 people that are signed up, that would be effectively paying for itself with the direct allocation to those who are most needy. And I think this is really also helpful to do it very timely because of potential tax increases that we've been talking about, that if we can get rebates to people who are eligible, they could have some benefits coming up to this next tax year.
Okay, I guess is that COVID related in your mind?
So I think anything that's helping working families with their tax burden is a COVID impact too. But I'd imagine this would come out of the most flexible use of revenue replacement dollars.
This is nuts.
Any other commentary?
And for the vehicle there, I thought we had chatted about 75. We're at 100 now.
Yeah, that's still different. This gives them the ability to get up to 100. Again, if they're coming short, there's going to be others that come in short, and we'll reallocate it.
One of the other critiques to Councilmember Navarrete's proposal and I was that there was too many new things that were being added here, and I know that we're adding even more new things. Does that still matter?
I had a discussion with the mayor that said that she will help staff and make sure that everything gets out the door. She did not have a concern about it.
Go
Well,
ahead, Councilman Cathcart.
I'm sorry, I think the concern was never the mayor, it was this council and not having time to vet and think through the ideas, I believe was the critique from Councilmember Kliske, so.
That was a process concern, and I have not been able to wield control over that, unfortunately. But I do think in future brainstorming processes, we need to start with our giant bucket of ideas and continue to narrow them down instead of adding new things towards the end. But that's just my opinion, and it didn't work out that way.
Well, and I will say, since we're at the tail end of these funds and where we're at now, there were some things that had never really been brought to light in our buckets, because we started 2 years ago just about, and now here we are, and things have certainly changed, and there are other needs that need to be considered. Councilmember Bingle, I guess we could ask, of all these, are they ARPA related? I would say, yes, because we're reinvesting back into the community that were impacted during COVID.
Yeah, I guess I would just say the marketing program for a state program that came, that is happening now. I think that's the furthest stretch. I think all the others have been, you can make a good case for it. But this is just the one that to me seems to be, a bit of a stretch. All the others I can understand, how it's going through. The marketing campaign for Working Families Tax Credit, I mean, that one seems the most far-fetched to me.
Councilmember Dillon.
Yeah, I'll just add, we've gone through various amendments, a lot of different iterations of this. When I look at the list of these, so there's some changing in the dollar amounts. We have the addition of the working families tax credit, school-based clinic, but most of what's there is the bones of what was the discussion from Councilmember Bingle and Councilmember Navarrete. I mean, they put a lot of work into this, a lot of work. And it does, if you zoom out, it is a pretty fair composition of what was the foundation. I'm not speaking on your guys' behalf, but just from where I sit in my perspective, recognizing that, yes, there has been some shifts in some of the dollars in the two new items, but everybody here, every district, everyone's getting something at the end of the day. And a lot of the conversations that we did have, the study session around the ombudsman, municipal court, all of that remains intact. Station 1. So I think it really does say a lot about this council in terms of, we often don't see kind of legislative horse trading and discussion around a lot of these items. And I think that this was a pretty healthy discussion that got us here.
Councilmember Bingle, did you want to speak? And then Councilmember Klitzky. And after Councilmember Klitzky, I'm going to have our CFO come up and just speak to the working family tax credit, just as a high-level overview of that. Jonathan, Councilmember Bingle, you're done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, Councilmember Klitzky.
Just to reiterate about the working family tax credit, I think that what has swayed me towards being considerate of this issue is that COVID affected a lot of direct service workers, and a lot of those folks that work in restaurants and other places, they have families, they're very busy, they're working multiple jobs, and then all of a sudden they're not getting any work. Those folks are still digging themselves out of a hole, and people who have multiple jobs often aren't aware of government programs and other things. So I think one thing that we could do to help repair the damage that COVID did to our community is to try to help working families, which made me sympathetic to the issue, even though it was a new idea. Still a little shaky about that part, but it seemed like a worthy cause to me.
Mr. Boss, do you want to come on up and just give a quick overview? I'll get to you, Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, just really quick, thank you for bringing me up. I know the mayor had wanted to have this as an incentive, as well as council members to have this as a specific initiative, because it's not meant to supplant any sort of state support that's going out there. It's to educate and inform, as well as partner with some of the agencies in the area. Accounting firms that are in the area are super eager to make this region the most impacted region of the entire state and have the largest participation within the entire state. And as it relates to ARPA, is this being COVID related? While the ARPA money is meant to recover from the COVID pandemic, it's also meant to recover from the economic implications that happened because of the COVID pandemic. And that is what is thought to have more participation. It also helps businesses as well as the individuals if we're doing these working tax credits.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I guess I would just to respond to Councilmember Klitzky's comment that, most of the issues are with the folks who are employed. It seems to me for a fraction of $250,000, we could reach out to every employer in the city of Spokane with a solicitation educating them on this. Probably costs somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000. So I think there's a way to directly connect with the people who might need the support and save probably $230,000. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm sure working with employers will be part of this outreach too.
Oh, I'm sure $250,000 is a lot. So.
Okay, so are we ready to vote on the amendment? All those in favor of the, I got like 4 here, Zapone, Dillon, Wilkerson amendment, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Noes?
No.
Abstentions? That amendment has passed. Thank you.
All right, now moving into the final reading ordinances, we do have ordinance C36523 that was deferred 1 week to tonight. And Councilmember Klitsky, you have an amendment for this one?
Yes.
We just suspend the rules.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to make a motion to suspend the rules to consider the amendment that we talked about last week.
Second.
It's been moved in second to suspend the rules. All those in favor, please
Hang on,
indicate.
hang on. So on this, is this not something that, again, we can just defer 1 more week and then do without having to suspend the rules? That way people can have some time to look over the amendment that's being proposed now.
If this was February, I would definitely agree with you on that, but we're starting to get into the hot time of the summer, and so I feel like there's more of a sense of urgency now. I did talk to every council member that was around last week, I think including yourself, Councilmember Bingle, about this. This responds to feedback from the original ordinance about making it simpler, making it easy to understand, and making it easy to implement. There was a lot of unnecessary language in the original version. I think this really cleans it up and makes it easier for landlords to understand and easier for tenants to understand.
So, Councilmember Cathcart, so we're still just voting on suspending the rules. All those in favor of the suspension of the rule, please indicate by saying aye, then we'll go into dialogue. Aye. Any noes?
No.
No.
Any abstentions? The rules are suspended. Now, Councilmember Cathcart.
Well, I will make a motion to defer to June 24th. I think, there's always good reason to continue conversing on a topic like this, and no reason we can't do that now. So I will make a motion to defer to June 24th.
Second.
It's been moved in second to defer to June 24th. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any noes?
No.
No.
Since
Abstentions?
it's only our ordinances that need to be deferred.
So, Councilmember Klitsky, you want to speak to your amendment?
So the reason that this didn't get published in time and that we're having to suspend the rules was because there was a lot of going on in the office, and the person who drafts our amendments was a little backed up. This isn't some kind of premeditated attempt to make my ordinance more special than anyone else's ordinance. But the reason that we need to do this now is because we have, like, summer's coming, it's already getting hot, and this won't go into effect for a month. So we really do need to get this done in case there's a heat emergency that comes up. And so I do apologize for not getting that cranked out quick enough and getting it published, but I do feel that it is urgent. So this ordinance just makes it so that landlords cannot prohibit a tenant from having a cooling unit as long as it makes sense with building codes and safety codes. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It takes out some of the extraneous considerations and language that made it probably too complicated.
Councilmember Dillon.
I'll just add here, so, and thank you for the explanation. And just to clarify, I mean, the amendment does not change the overall intent or scope of the ordinance, correct? It's slightly some of the technical
No, it
exclusions.
takes out some of the heat emergency language, and it takes out some of the defining the season language. Folks felt that was unnecessary, and we've been getting feedback from landlords about other regulations that we have passed that have been too complicated.
Motion.
So motion to accept the amendment as presented.
Yes.
Second.
Did Kitty make it? I couldn't make it. Is it on the floor?
So I'm making the motion, I thought I already did that, sorry, to, for my amendment to the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the Klitsky amendment number 2. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any noes?
No.
No.
Any abstentions? That is approved.
All right, so that concludes the current council agenda for June 10th.
There is no council next week due to Juneteenth, And please be reminded, we'll be holding our legislative session tonight at the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, 500 South Stone, starting at 6 p.m. We hope you'll join us. This meeting is adjourned.